Here's a top end replacement on a 2002 Blaster. We already took it apart and sent the piston and cylinder out, got the cylinder hone, got a new piston, and now cleaned up the surface right here where the gasket's going to mount. Here's the top end gasket. It's going to mount on there like that. That's the gasket mounted. Now we're going to install the piston. So this is a Yamaha piston that we went with. Has a label on the top, EX, that points towards the exhaust. So the piston's going to be installed like this. Two holes go towards the back. We're going to install the one of the circle clips. There, I've got that circle clip installed. I'm going to rotate it so that the gap goes straight up. You either want it straight up or straight down. So I'm going to spin that, just stick a screwdriver in there and spin it so that the gap's at the top. Now I'm going to install the piston rings. The words right there where it says 6800 DC and then that number and word right there, that's going to face upward. And then the open part on the piston ring has to go over that pin right there and that pin right there. Now obviously you're going to want to install the bottom ring first. Just slip it over the top and then jump over that ridge in the middle and then install the top one after that, and make sure that the piston rings aren't upside down, and make sure that they go over those pins. And that's about how it should look when they're properly installed. Now I'm going to use a little bit of two-stroke oil, coat the wrist pin bearing, and then install the wrist pin bearing into the connecting rod. Put the piston on, slide the slide pin through the wrist pin bearing, and then put the clip on the outside. I'm going to put a light coat of two-stroke oil on all of these separate components. There's the piston installed. I haven't put that new clip on the other side yet, but I will in just a second. It's okay to have a little bit of side-to-side slop, about like that, but as far as up and down, you want almost none at all. Once again, make sure the mark on the top points forward. Make sure you have the two holes on the back of the piston. Double check that, and then go ahead and install your circle clip on the opposite side. Here's the new cylinder. We're going to put a light coat of oil all the way around the inside of the cylinder and on the intake and exhaust ports. So once you have the piston rings installed correctly on top of those notches facing in the right direction, then just compress those two rings and then just slide the cylinder over the top. It might take a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, but take your time, it's worth it. Once you get over the piston, go ahead and line it up with these 4 bolts here and then slide it onto the rest of the case. Use a rubber mallet or a dead blow hammer, or just put a thick rag on there and give it a couple taps with the hammer to make sure it's seated on, and then do a visual inspection all the way around, make sure that the gasket is compressed on there. Then install the 4 nuts that go on these 4 mounting places. Now these are the 4 washers and nuts that are installed in those 4 spots. Now install the head gasket after these 4 bolts or 4 nuts are tightened down to 20 foot-pounds. The head gasket, the flat edge, is going to go on the kickstart side or on the right side of the quad when you're sitting on it. Install that next and then set the head on top. Now install your 6 washers and then install your 6 bolts and torque them down in a lug nut pattern to 20 foot-pounds. Now install your BR8ES spark plug after all 6 of those bolts are torqued down to 20 foot-pounds.